India's intent was very clear. They went about this whole thing in a very choreographed and planned manner. They ratcheted up the war hysteria and they were preparing the grounds for a attack. And they first launched information maneuver. And then last night they broke the deterrence stability by an unprovoked attack through their missiles. And those missiles were targeted against the civilian targets and mosques, which are places of worship. So this attack was dastardly, cowardly, and in contravention to international humanitarian law. So this is something that needs to be understood by all human rights supporters and the international community, that the Geneva Conventions do not permit you to target civilians and the places of worship. Pakistan's response was, according to its rights under Article 51 of UN Charter, self-defense, and Pakistan Air Force responded very effectively. And it was very evident that Indians were trying to follow up on those missile attacks through aerial attacks. And the intent was very clear. They were using a mix of multi-role fighters, all high-performance aircrafts with offensive BVR weapons and offensive radar capability to jam our assets. But those were very effectively countered through our own effective air defense response as well as the Air Force. And our Air Force took the battle to enemy by resorting to BVR missiles. And before the Indians could put their designs into effect, and those aircrafts were shot down. And that shows that how qualitatively superior our defense strategy in air is, because our air assets use an integrated defense and offensive strategy. They have a capability of jamming the enemy radars. They can outrange by way of BVR comparison, especially this PL-15 missile, which we acquired from China, and the AMRAAM from F-16. They have bested MiG-29s, Su-30s, and the much vaunted Rafale, which is a 4.5 fifth generation multi-role fighter, very expensive fighter, and upon whom were pinned the hopes of India. So if those are shot down, I think that's a matter of great embarrassment and a big setback operationally for Indian Air Force, and which shows how qualitatively superior Pakistan Air Force and Pakistan Air Defense is. And on the ground front, on line of control, the Indians started resorting to exchange of small arm and artillery fire, and Pakistan responded through its own mortar fire and effective small arms response. One of the brigade headquarters was destroyed in Dudnial, in Bidori and Pir Kanti sector of line of control in Kashmir. The Indian posts were targeted with effective fire, and fire was so effective that those posts were set ablaze, and Indian Army had to abandon. And at many places, they raised the yellow, white flag. So this is indicative of an enemy which has attacked, but is not professionally or morally in the same league as Pakistan Army and its leadership. You see, this is the age of standoff weaponry. Nowadays, the electronics and cyber defenses, air defenses, and the beyond visual range missile standoff capacity counts a lot. So that capacity Pakistan attained, and it was a very effective response to before Indians could out range or outgun us using their beyond visual range missiles and cause some damage. Those Indian uh, air platforms which were flying with an aggressive intent, those were monitored on our radar screens of air defense, and then those were acquired and jammed. And the BVR missiles from F-16, AMRAAM missile, and the PL-15 from J10C, those were very effective, and those took on and preempted Indian attempts to do damage. So this, as I told, is an age of precision standoff weaponry where missile ranges, BVR ranges, as well as the electronics and the radar range coverage and its effectiveness counts a lot. So Pakistan's AEW, electronic warfare capacity, electronic support measures capacity, it came up trumps against Indians, which had spent a lot on their Air Force, but when it came to the crunch time, it could not come up trumps. I think we are qualitatively, I can say that our Air Force is superior, training wise, resolve wise, and the capacity wise. The electronics capacity, our BVR range capacity. So these PL-15 were used with J-10C, and AMRAAMs were used with F-16. So Pakistan has a mix, and Pakistan has very intelligently utilized these platforms using their best capacities. We can J-10C is comparable to Rafale in its capacities, very little difference. It's a single engine compared to Rafale, which is a twin engine. The missile range is nearly the same. It's the question of which pilot and which platform and which Air Force uses the weapons most effectively through its training, courage, and better tactics. So on those tactics front, utilization of these weapons, because range to range, the Meteor missile in Rafale and this PL-15 in J-10C, they are nearly equal. But you see the electronic warfare capacity of Pakistan Air Force, the support suite of electronics that Pakistani jets are served with, its radar capacity, air defense, that is very, very effective. So Pakistan Air Force's HQ-9 high MAD air defense missile system has shot down one of the fighters, and the rest was done by JV and F-16. So range-wise and electronic capability-wise, and also training-wise, if you ask the comparison, the technical specs-wise, Indians and Pakistanis have nearly the same capabilities, but training-wise, utilization-wise, and marrying of doctrines and tactics, Pakistan Air Force has a clear edge over Indian Air Force. You see, the future belongs to standoff precision weaponry and electronics, electronic warfare, electronic control suites. Those capabilities are the ones which will decide the future of air warfare. And air combat is all dependent upon the kind of electronic warfare you bring to the table, the kind of beyond visual missiles you have. And in PL-15, Pakistan has acquired one of the most lethal and modern missiles, which outranged the Meteor missile of Rafales. And Rafale is a European fighter acquired from France, and it is much more costlier than J-10C, and it's much more, it was reputationally so built up that it was being touted as one of the weapons of choice and game changers. But it hasn't come to pass because it's not only the platform, it is a whole suite of capabilities, which includes your electronic warfare capability, your air defense capability, your training, and the whole way you use these capabilities. You see, these capabilities naturally, once the balloon is up, the radar start working, the air defenses are activated, and you basically search for any intruder in enemy's territory. And there are ranges, short range, long range, and intermediate range. Then there are capabilities within the jet fighters. J-10Cs have their own ESA radars and enemy that Rafale also has a ESA radar, which is difficult to jam, but there are capabilities which are provided by airborne early warning systems. We have our SABs and AEW capacity, which is very effective, which is used in support, integrated with the fighter squadrons. Once the fighters are scrambled, these AEW capabilities are also scrambled. So their radar guides the fighters onto their targets. And then if there is an incoming missile which is targeted against one of our fighters like J-10C or F-16s, so these aircrafts have their own electronic warfare capacities to counter those intruding missiles through their own ESM and ECCM means. So it's a combination of electronics, beyond visual range missiles, and your airborne early warning system. And the back is also your ground-based air defense systems, which are also covering. So the whole spectrum is covered so that there is no space left for enemy to intrude and exploit any vulnerability.